And I just thank God for them. Yeah, I thank God for the joy that they bring in my life, in our lives. I retired in 2017 after having worked in different organizations in the area of administration. Yeah, so that's where that's what I was doing for many years until 2017. So after that, after retire, I went home. I stayed there for some time, and then in 2023, I took a teaching job where I taught for some time, and that gave me the motivation to begin a daycare, because I felt that I really was getting along well and enjoying my teaching job, and I was actually handling the young children of 4 to 5 years. So currently I offer daycare services. I offer this service to children of 6 months to 6 years. And I just love it. I just love it. I just love having children around me, hanging around with children, playing around with them, and just enjoying their company. I got born again when I was in Form 2. That's some years back. There was a missionary group that came from UK. They came Silver Wind. They were called Silver Wind. So they came and they came to KICC and they preached the word of God, and I felt a conviction, and I found when an altar call was made, I found myself in the front. So after that, I think there wasn't much of discipleship and follow-up, so somehow I didn't grow spiritually. So I just went through life. I would go to church, but I wasn't really a committed Christian. But in the year 2000, is when now I rededicated my life to the Lord. And it was at that point that now I took salvation seriously. And I was enjoying the things of God, and I was just loving the things of God. And from that time, I have enjoyed my journey in Christianity. During that time, it was just a station that I bumped onto, and I used to enjoy the programs of Joel Osteen. It was very encouraging. I would just specifically go to listen to Joel Osteen's preaching, and it always happened that it was at 9 o'clock, at a time when I would be preparing to go to church. And somehow I would just get myself lost in it, that sometimes I would even get late for church. So I really enjoyed his teachings because they were encouraging. But now after retirement is when I got a closer following of family media. Yeah, because now I think I had more time. I think before it was more of the issue of time. I felt that family TV was really blessing me. I found that each time that I listen, I always get something, and spiritual growth, and there's spiritual growth as I continue to listen. And so for me, I see that family is fulfilling the Great Commission. And because they're fulfilling the Great Commission, so it makes me want to be part of them, so that I know my giving goes also, it may be small, but it goes to be able to reach out to somebody out there who needs to know about God. And so that's why I give, and I also give because it's a blessing. It's just, I find that I get blessed, so I want somebody out there to be blessed as well.
We acknowledge the tremendous support of our partners that has been key in helping us keep Jesus on the airwaves. But we can't stop now. To become a partner with us, SMS the word partner to 20316.
Whatever it is that we give God, we are just giving him what he has already given to us. We are not giving, it's not like it is ours. Really, it is his, because God is the one who gives us the ability to make wealth. That's what the Bible says. And therefore, he's the one who gives us the energy. He's the one who gives us the strength. He's the one who gives us health. He's the one who gives us life. Yeah, so when he's asking us to give, he's just asking us to give what he has already given to us. I like what I heard someone say one time, and I think it is very, I think I will repeat it, that God is not asking you to give what you don't have. God is just asking you to give what you have. I used to think that, you have to have so much to be able to give. But I came to realize that no. God is just asking you to give what you have.
My name is Desmond Getiha Mweshegi. I was born in 1965 to my late father George Mweshegi and my mother Edith Wajiru. I'm married to Theresia. I'm a father to Edith Wajiru, George Mweshegi, and David Kamau. I'm a grandfather of 5. I'm born again. I received Jesus Christ in the early 2000s. I'm in church leadership by now. I'm an elder on trial in our local church. Professionally, I'm a painting artist. I'm also a farmer. I'm a tea farmer. That's what I currently do. Now, at that time, I was stuck in drugs. During my high school days, that is in the early 80s, I was hooked into drugs. Cigarette smoking, then bag smoking, then I was in alcohol. It became a terrible problem throughout my life. It even affected me so much. It really affected my social life. Now, during that time when I came to Christ, it was the lowest moment in my life. I had experiencing a terrible depression in my life. I was planning to commit suicide by that time. My family was broken at that time. But I received the gospel in a vision. It was very clear to me what will happen when a person dies without Christ. What will happen? It was very clear to me. Now I decided to give my life to Christ. I decided to stop, to have nothing to do with that life of drugs. And I decided to pray seriously concerning that. It is not easy to drop from the addiction of cigarette smoking, bag smoking, and alcohol consumption. It is not easy unless God intervenes. I became very lonely during that time. I joined the church. They gave me much support. But you see, I was in the church on Saturday and the midweek fellowship. But throughout the day, I was very lonely. My family was broken. I was alone. That's when I found the family radio. At that time, they were transmitting on 5.2. Now, due to withdrawal of the drugs, I could experience sleepless nights very often. But during the night, I could tune to family radio on 105.2. That's where I received encouragement. By the way, through the family radio, that's where I have gained. I have learned so much from the family, from the music, the teachings by Joyce Meyer, John Hagee, Creflo Dollar, T.D. Jakes. I had been able to follow through what I have learned. I have put it into practice in my life. Initially, I thought that to those who give, the rich people. That's what I thought. But that's when I remembered that I was informed that you can give whatever you have. You can give 50 shillings, you can give 100 shillings, whatever you have. Whatever the Holy Spirit convicts you, you can give. It can make a change. It is a drop in the ocean. I decided immediately to give. Now, it is not easy, but it is a decision. You know, I have to give to the church. I have to give my tithes to the church. I have to give offerings to the church projects, to the needy people, and to the media. It is not easy, but you have to do I have to do the calculations. Now, whenever God blesses me, it is always the first priority to give to the gospel, whatever I have. I budgeted it that way.
We would like to encourage you to become a partner with us. SMS the word partner to 20316. We will be glad to guide you through to be part of the family that is helping keeping Jesus on the airwaves.
When the message is on the air, it is able to reach to many, and they will be converted. God will bless you in His own way. In these days, there is so much influx of social media and all this. Through the social media, many people are running so many evil things in the media. Now they are becoming hooked. Now, using the same media, people can learn about Jesus Christ free of charge. And it costs money to make it, to put Jesus on the airwaves. It requires money. It is the responsibility of those who are willing to do it voluntarily.
A very good morning to you. Welcome to Motivation Monday, where we bring you challenging conversations and inspiring stories. Now, I don't know if you're like me, where you are born and you grow up in a space where there aren't many things by way of exposure. Life, in a sense, is very basic. How do you then aspire for more? How do you grow into the match that God has designed for you? This morning on Motivation Monday, we are talking about the power of exposure and how you and I can take advantage of the various ways in which we can be exposed so that we can better our lives. And helping us with this conversation is Mr. Eric Mutwiri, who's a business person, and we'll just be looking at his journey through how he has actually taken advantage of the various exposure means, so to speak, and has actually done that to his own advantage. And so kindly, let's just join into this conversation so that we may glean as much as possible. And as we do that, let me request that you just interact with us by way of questions, comments, or even feedback. 20316 is our SMS line, 0786 316 316 is our WhatsApp line. Would love to hear from you. Bwana Eric.
Yes.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
It's good to see you this morning.
Same here, same here.
Yeah, I know I've made a very basic introduction of you.
Yes,
please just, introduce yourself to the audience.
So as he has said, my name is Eric Mutwiri. I'm a business person. I like calling myself that,
You don't like entrepreneurship.
Like we said, it has some bit of pressure.
Yeah.
I find business person quite straightforward, since it's about, identifying opportunities and actually, tackling those opportunities, wherever they come. I feel entrepreneurship is such a long-term, but whatever we do is still part of entrepreneurship, because it also involves, strategy, and, niche. I call it niche, But more than that, I've been in business for about, since 2015, I would say. Professionally, I was trained as a land economist.
Okay.
I'm a licensed valuer, an estate agent. which is now something I do as a consult on the side, and run businesses on full time. What else about me? I'm not yet married, but I'm seriously dating.
Good job.
Hopefully soon. Mtakula mchele. Yes.
Shout out to whoever Mr. Eric is dating. We pray that the Lord, makes it work out.
Yes. I think that's in a nutshell who I am in relevance to this conversation.
All right. So you've touched just something a bit, that you are trained as a land economist, you are a registered value and estate agent. And you said you do that sort of as a side, as a consult, and then you run business. But I would also consider that as business in a sense. But what I am aiming at is just what kind of business ventures are you involved in?
Well, I think I can comment on that, since, I mean, when you talk of exposure, I think we can also, simplify it as experiences, that have actually led you to be where you are today. And I think every one of us answered the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I believe majority of us didn't become whatever we wanted to be when we grow up. Because of the experiences that we passed through and the opportunities that came our way, and now to use the word, what you were exposed to. I remember as a young boy, and I saw planes in the sky, and I was so fascinated, and I wanted to be a pilot. And I had a good plan for that. I knew it is an expensive affair, and my parents would not afford it. So I knew I'll have to finish my Form 4, join the army, make them train me, and then, I might fulfill that dream. And then I broke a tooth, and I knew here on Doto,
the dream was gone.
Yes, but also I remember, like, we had this family friend who was an evangelist, and then I was still a small boy, and I would look at him and what he was doing, and, you would admire. And then you would think, I think I want to be that.
To be a preacher man.
To be a preacher man.
It's not too late. It's not too late.
Well, it's not a calling, I think. So. It's not a calling so far. But I feel now the things we go through every day kind of make us, or rather give us a way of where we go. I remember after all that, even after I was in high school and I did not know what to pursue, because I remember during our time, we really pursued, especially now someone like me, we pursued what you knew the government can sponsor you. So ideally, you would check what you're capable of in terms of cluster points, and you'll try and choose something beyond that. So not necessarily really what you want to do, but necessarily what you feel you're most qualified for at that particular time. So I think that's how I landed in land economics. And I mean, you start a race, you have to finish it. And at the time, that's what I knew I need to do. Finish the degree, get the relevant certifications and start practicing. So you can say that's the route that sent me to run economics and consultancy. It was purely the government of Kenya, but now after that, just before campus, I remember I have an older brother who is like a year older than me. So we grew really together. And once we finished Form 4, I come from a small town where technology really had not really taken root. But I remember our mother.
And is this a small town outside Nairobi or within Nairobi?
A small town outside Nairobi, a village town. And I remember our mother brought us a really basic computer. And it was the first, of course we had seen computers in school, but now this one was ours, and we could really do whatever really we wanted with it. And I think that started our first enterprise, because with that we could be able to open like, you know, a small business where we would make music for people, you know, band movies at the time, you know. So I'm talking about this because this is where another seed was planted.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I started, or rather working with computers. And I remember in that town, there were a few government offices that used computers. And whenever they would break down, they would come to us.
Government offices.
Government offices. They're not big, but you know, like
but it's still a
the town,
office.
you know, water company, the council, you know. Yeah, so you'd be called to repair computers. And you won't say you're clueless because they know, you know, you do business with one. Yeah, so I think that's where also we use the resources at hand. Google interconnectivity was still there. It wasn't as much, but you'd use those small phones to actually look for solutions to this problem and tackle those problems. So we did a little bit of computer repair services there.
And this is just after high school?
This is just after high school, yeah. And this is because we, you know, we were bought for an old computer that had a lot of issues, and we had to Google a lot about how to solve those issues. So we became very conversant with that, and we had to shut that down after the, you know, when you're coming to the university. It was more of a pastime. But I think now that planted a seed to what we are mostly doing today. So going to the business ventures. So first I said the consultancy in real estate, but now mostly I run a company that has several brands. And one is ES Gaming Store, where we ideally build high performance computers, you know, for stakeholders such as gamers, video editors, and more recently AI and LLM. So our customer base is quite diverse, from a simple, you know, kid who wants to play games on their computer to a serious corporate who wants to run LLM models for their company. And also we have also a brand called Blockshop, which primarily deals with leather products, especially leather men bags. And talking of experiences and them leading to something, I remember once I got my first job, I really needed a leather bag. And if you know the market of leather bags, you know how they are not really for a starter, you know, someone out of university looking, and had to look and look and look, and I could not find any. At least today we have a lot of, you know, local, but then there was the industry was not active. So I decided to kind of bring one for myself. And everybody was like, nice bag, nice bag. And that's how it evolved, that business venture of bags, because, you know, you identified there's actually a need, because everyone is asking, you know, where did you get this? Where did you get this? So I think those are the business ventures that I run right now, or rather I'm involved in, and how the idea kind of conceptualized.
I like, you know, how you have tied this whole idea of exposure to experiences as well. You know, just some of the things that you would go through, and a seed would sort of be born, and, you know, eventually that would materialize into a business venture. But what I'm wondering as well, because it's possible for a seed to be planted in someone, but that leap between, you know, that first computer that your mother bought you, by the way, kudos to your mom. I think that was
Shout
very,
out to her.
but how that translates now to you having a fully fledged enterprise where now you are, you know, building, you know, these supercomputers for people. I mean, how do you think of that? Where do you see that? And, you know, how do you even imagine where to get the resources? How do you eventually figure, you know, I can maybe get this resource from here, I can get this resource from here? How do you make that leap now?
First and foremost, I think interest is really key. You know, there's a big difference between venturing into something you have interest with and something you don't have interest with. Yeah? Especially in this age of algorithms. Let me explain. Once you have an interest in something, and right now the most ideally source of information we have is the internet. And if the internet realizes you have an interest in that thing, it bombards you with a lot of information about that thing. And if you have interest in it, you really absorb, you absorb really the information that comes with it. So growing from, you know, that seed to a fully fledged business, it's not a day's affair. I feel it calls for a lot of patience, I would say, and a lot of learning, ideally. It's easier to learn if you have interest, but still, I thank God for the age we are living at, because we are living in a global village. And it's very interesting that Kenya is one of the leading African countries in terms of absorbing technology. Ideally, we are very open to new technology. So it's also very easy to, especially the US market, let me say. Like Kenyans and the US market, in terms of technology, they go hand in hand. And I find we absorb a lot of information when it comes to the US market. So I feel, and as much as they are progressed, I feel we've really learned a lot based on especially the media, what is providing, and the mere fact that we are living in a global village. In that, it is very easy, you know, from the comfort of your home today, even if it's not for business purposes, to purchase something, you know, from out there and bring it in here and use it for your advantage. So I feel the circumstances have been ideal, especially right now, especially for kind of technology business where it's very, the world is exposed. There's a lot of free content out there, you know. So it has become very easy to do that research, to know what people want, and also to pursue that. But again, as I say that, I feel also the ability now to find that need, you know, especially in the market, is really key, because you can know the market need this, but how do I conceptualize that? So I think also now, like, you know, the education background comes in that you are able to package these products the way you feel the market needs, you know.
So you're saying that this land economics that you did, as much as it was focused on landed properties and all, still somehow, some way, has an influence somehow in even how you conceptualize your businesses?
By all means, yes. I think tertiary education is one of the best things that could happen to a person, because especially in land economics, you know, economics, and you have not mentioned you were my classmate in the university.
Well, the cat is out of the bag.
We branched out to other things, you know. But you know, you remember we did a lot of, you know, economics and finance, which come very handy, you know, in day-to-day running. And also the people you meet there, you know, you're able to, for lack of a better word, you open your mind, you know, to possibilities. You know what is possible, you know. And talking of that, I think I can even go to my experience when working as a valuer, you know, once you get out of university, you know, we had to work before you find yourself, you know. And I think my best motivation in running businesses came from the clients I was actually attending to then. And I was amazed to see, like, how big things they would do through businesses. And we did businesses then, but the scaling of the business was so small. It was, you know, as long as you have your daily supply or you meet your daily bread, that's it, you know. But I found people who you are doing, ideally, you know, valuations we do for people who, you know, ideally are seeking facilities from banks, and most of them are to finance their businesses. So you'd wonder, where is this person taking all this money to fund their business? And we are talking in millions. And I realized, wow, so this is how it's usually done. It opened my mind to actually thinking bigger than what I thought, and than the box I thought I fit in. Yes, and realize that it's actually boundless. These people are actually doing what any of us really could do. They just dared more. Yes.
It's interesting, and I will probably want us to take a pause, and then we'll continue this conversation. But it's interesting that you mention people as a source of exposure as well.
Yes.
That our interactions with people have a way of shaping us as they expose us to other possibilities that perhaps we did not think about. And that perhaps is my own experience. I mean, grew up in the slums, born and bred, you know, left the slums when I was going to campus. But it is that kind of interaction with people where you're thinking, wait a minute, people are not just surviving, you know, people are not just here studying so that, you know, they can get a better life and, you know, escape from poverty. Because you see, initially that was the motivation, escape from poverty as far as possible. Then you realize there's more to life than just escaping poverty. And that opens you to other possibilities. And but I want us to take a pause, and then, you know, when we come back, we continue with this conversation. We are talking about the power of exposure today. And in fact, I just have a question for you. In what ways and in what areas has your life been enriched through exposure? Kindly do share with us your own experience of how you have been exposed to various ideas and various ventures. 20316 is our SMS line, 0786 316 316 is our WhatsApp line. But for now, I want us to listen to this clip that in a sense just, you know, helps us appreciate what we do here. And so this is building a cathedral. And then when we come back at the end of that, we will continue this conversation on the power of exposure.
Once, a man walked through a construction site. He watched 3 workers laying bricks. He asked each of them the same simple question: "What are you doing?" The first said, "I'm laying bricks. It's tough work, but it pays the bills." The second replied, "I'm building a wall. It's just part of my job." But the third, he smiled and said, "I'm building a cathedral." At Family Media, we understand this story. We're not just laying bricks either. We are building a place of hope, a place where faith is restored, where children learn God's love, where stories of transformation go out 24/7. We are building a cathedral through media. But we are not building it alone. You, our partners, are helping us lay every brick.
Family allows us to be partners here, whether you're giving 100, 500, 1,000, 10,000, a million. You can be part of the family. There's a need in today's world for people to hear this gospel, and there's no better space than media.
Every gift, every prayer, every encouragement is part of something eternal.
It will touch me every time you're told that you listen to it because somebody else gave. Some are called to be apostles. In that line of calling, we are also called to take Jesus to the airwaves.
Thank you for seeing beyond the bricks. Thank you for seeing the cathedral. Thank you for choosing to build with us, soul by soul. Together, let's keep building with purpose, with faith, and with joy. Family Media, keeping Jesus on the airwaves. At Family Media, we believe in the power of prayer.
Do you trust on God's faithfulness?
It is how we lift one another up.
I will be moderating a live prayer circle session
and leading us in heartfelt worship.
Now, I want you to mark your calendar, because on the 27th of June, we're going to have a night of worship. I will see you then as we lift up a worship to our Jesus.
From 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m., tune in to Family TV, Family Radio, and all across our social media platforms for a powerful night of worship and prayer. Don't miss this powerful worship experience.
Welcome back. This is Motivation Monday, where we bring you challenging conversations and inspiring stories. By the way, I hope you have diarized your calendar and you're joining us this coming Friday, the 27th of June, for a special prayer circle event. Yes, we are looking forward to having you join us from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. You know, amazing things lined up. We will be live on all social media platforms. And so come, let us bear our burdens out to God. Let us pray for one another. Let us be enriched through worshiping and adoring our God. We are looking forward to having you join us. But also, that clip on the cathedral, I hope you actually sort of get a sense in what we are doing here. And so I invite you, consider joining us in building this cathedral that we are doing here through media. So if you will desire to join us by becoming one of our partners, send an SMS with the word partner to 20316 and somebody will get back to you. Or you could say, I could do something right now. Yes, you can. Feel free to use paybill number 316 for account. Just write your phone number. We are talking about the power of exposure today here at Motivation Monday. I am waiting to hear from you. In what ways have you actually benefited from exposure, and what kind of exposure has come your way? Share that with us. 20316 is our SMS line. 0786 316 316 is our WhatsApp line. But also, whatever questions you may have or comments or feedback, feel free to send them in. But for now, let's get right to this conversation. Welcome back.
Asante sana.
Now, before we went on that break, you just introduced us to this idea of people as a source of exposure. And so how I'm thinking about it, you have people and our interactions with people as a means through which we can be exposed. We have places as well as a means through which we can be exposed. And of course, you mentioned the other things that we'll be getting into. But in what ways have places as well been a source of exposure for you?
Well, maybe I can, before I go to places,
yes,
maybe I can expound a little bit more on the people.
All right, please.
And I think that's where really mentors and mentees comes in. Yeah, I feel especially in our generation, we really didn't find a lot of mentors in the space. Yeah, we have having a conversation with someone over the weekend. And we were discussing about mentors and mentees, and someone made a point that, you know, ideally, like it should be mentors approaching mentees and not the other way around, you know. Yeah, so I feel especially people in places of influence, you know, once they see someone, you know, that they can see potential in, I would like to encourage them to actually mentor,
take them under their wings.
The initiative, you know. Yeah, not wait for them to actually ask for it, but ideally I feel it would be very easy to uplift a lot of people that way. Yeah, so it's something also I've become very you know, passionate about. You know, if you see someone is around you and is showing that willingness, you know, and have a big picture, it's only good to help them really get there, give them the exposure and the experiences you think they they feel. Talking of places, I think places are key with exposure. And me, I wouldn't say I am well traveled, so I will talk in local context. Like from where I grew up, where I went to high school, and where I came to university, and where I work, and how the different places have actually influenced the person I am today. Yeah. So as most, Kenyans, you're raised in a, in a village, and I think the first kind of external exposure you get is when you go to high school, especially if you are fortunate enough to go to a provincial school. So that means you are out of your neighborhood into your, new places, new people. And I remember I went to high school in Nyeri, and it was quite a liberal school, so you could easily, get out of school, do things there, then come back. But it was quite easy to actually get exposed to what other people knew that I didn't know. It was the first time, you could, it was the first time to go to a cyber cafe, because then there were cyber cafes there, of which I couldn't have that experience, of which, hindsight looking, like you could, in hindsight you could see, it influenced what I did after I finished high school actually, when you got that, So I was exposed to things that I really did not have where I was, and I remember also I got to see things I could not say. I remember, we could bring some music system into school, small ones you listen during your free time, and that's the first place I saw a Discman, because, where I had come from, I could not have seen one. So you can see you're easily being accustomed to things that you are not really, accustomed to at home. So I think as much as it looks, it's not the places where people think you have gone here, you've gone there. I feel even the smallest of, places where you go and are outside the box you are accustomed to, can really help you open up your mind to the possibilities of what is out there, and also like also coming to Nairobi for university. That was such a big milestone in terms of exposure, because now
you've come to the big city.
I've come to the big city. Nairobi is a place of opportunities, and I remember talking of places that when I came to the university, my sister had then gotten a kibarua in China, and then China was not next door; it was still quite inaccessible. So if you had a route towards there, you could have made something of yourself then. And I had mentioned my brother, who is quite enterprising. I think all the businesses that we are running had been his, thought at inception. Because I remember, due to need, you know how the university is. You need to look for an extra shilling here and there, and he would go to downtown and then come to the university. Buy some flash drives, come to the university and sell them off, for pocket change here and there. But then we realized these things is buying from downtown. They actually come in from China. So I feel so we can do this. You can just bring them ourselves, and then we can sell it, to people who are selling to us. I think that's where the inception of the current business as it is came from. As you can see, it's many dots joining together. There was that opportunities. A sibling has traveled.
And so, while you're in campus, you've already sort of started import business.
You've already sort of started import business.
Wow, okay.
Yes. But now in campus, for lack of a better word, you are still foolish in your ways. You are not a good steward, so you find that you're doing it more, as to pass time and to get food for that day. But again, I believe it's the inception of what you're doing currently. Because ideally now with the globalization and things changing, you know, we've had to change the business model and what we are doing, you know, and to the end now we are doing whatever it is we are doing today. So it's really not a straightforward thing. You find you have to adapt to changes until you find where it is that, you know, the sweet spot. Ideally, this is what now that we should be doing.
You know, even as you say that, maybe there's somebody who's listening or watching and they're thinking, you know, I have this interest, I have this desire, and unlike you, maybe they don't have a sibling, you know, in China. But they're thinking maybe what I need, I can get from abroad. And the fact that you've talked about globalization, I'm just speaking to this space where now, by virtue of the kind of exposure we have, you may not necessarily need to have somebody that you know in a particular country. But what is available for people now that they can still take advantage of?
First of all, before I talk about that, I'm a big advocate of local production. So I tell people, if it's something that you can produce locally, don't import. You know, I know it's hard to set structures locally. It's not the easiest thing to start even the smallest business in Kenya. You find at the end of the day, like the system is just designed to make imports more cheap, you know, cheaper, less hectic, and things like that. But like you said, we are living in a global space, and you might not necessarily need to travel out there to actually get what you want. There are a lot of online marketplaces, you know, such as, especially if you are looking to the east, you know, there is global sources, you know, that you can actually meet manufacturers and suppliers of what you need, and it's very easy for you to use. You know, we now have a really developed industry of logistics and shipping agents, you know, who will take care of your, you know, logistics here, the custom clearance and everything.
This is what we used to call Kitambo clearing and forwarding.
Clearing and forwarding agents. Yes, those ones. Yeah, so they'll be it's very easy for you to do that. And also I've seen online there are a lot of master classes that are teaching people to actually do this kind of, if it's importation business, whether you want to import clothes from Turkey, you know, electronics from China, there are all these master classes, you know. I think a simple Google search will actually give you a local master class that is teaching people about what to do. But again, a disclaimer, as I said, you know, I mean, we should really try and spur local production, you know. If you're a designer and have a passion in clothing, I think we should start looking like, you know, instead of, you know, buying clothes and selling them, I can actually sit down, design this, create employment, you know, and actually sell it as my brand.
But it's interesting because one of the things we've mentioned is, unfortunately, our systems as have been set up, it just seems to frustrate that kind of local enterprise. And so it becomes extremely difficult. And so if, say, you are to be in a position of, you know, authority, I know on Wednesday, you know, the commemoration of, you know, last year with the Gen Z protests and everything that happened, this agitating for better governance. If you are in a position of authority, what, in a sense, do you think is important in terms of even opening up exposure for people? And do you think the government has a responsibility and a role in doing that, so that that kid like you coming from the village, or that kid like me coming from the slums, you know, they are able to be opened up to the endless possibilities that are there?
Yeah, of course, the government is key, and even talking from the most basic thing, you know, education. I believe most of us are reaping the fruits of free education, you know, by the late President Kibaki, you know, and in the recent past, we've seen, you know, concerns about, you know, budget cuts in education and things like that. So I think that's something our leaders should really look into and prioritize, you know, because an educated population is like education is one of the very few ways that lift people out of poverty. Yes. Yeah, and I think we've seen that in the last, say, 20 years. Yeah, where people who had no hope are now doing well, you know. Yeah, also in terms of running business, like, I won't talk what can be done better, you know. I'm not quite a political person. I'll just say the challenges, you know. And I think the biggest challenge we have right now mostly is, I would say, over-regularization, where we have different parastatal checking different things, you know, that you feel there is, you know, mostly duplication. You have to pay these people, then pay these people, then pay these people. Yeah. So, like, the people who are entrusted in regulating an industry, you know, they make it so that, you know, that it's hard to actually exist in that industry, you know. Yeah, there was a conversation yesterday on social media about, you know, how Hollywood would simulate cinema scenes in Kenya in other countries, you know. So, like, a scene that is supposedly, you know, a Kenyan scene will be shot in Morocco because they have better, you know, film, you know, laws and things like that. It will be cheaper there and things like that. It's because when they come here first, it might be very expensive and things like that. Yeah. So I feel we are more, a lot of government agencies only concentrate more with revenue collection rather than
supporting the enterprise,
enterprises in the industry. Yeah. Also now another challenge that we face a lot right now, it's the changing tax laws. You know, I've come to realize compliance. You know, it's which is good for our accountant's friend, but it's one of the most challenging part of running a business. You know, because like you see every year, you know, we have amendments in the tax laws, and you have to, you know. So I feel those are some of the things that when streamlined, it will make it quite easier to, you know, to run a business in the country.
Thank you for that. And maybe now as we begin gearing up towards a close, you know, and as I invite you to sort of just make your final remarks on this matter. One of the interesting things is, I mean, I'm not in business, so that nobody is thinking that when we are talking about exposure, we are merely talking about business, but just basically in every area. So for example, I was theologically trained before I went into formal school. So like you, I did land economics. You know, when we finished school, we ventured into different paths. You continued with it together with business. I heeded to the call of God and, you know, joined the church as a pastor. But even then, you know, I was theologically trained before, you know, I went even into formal theological school, in the sense that, you know, there are countless resources that are still available. And so I can still hold my own, despite the fact that maybe I may not have a paper to show that I went to school. But I have the knowledge, although I don't have the paper. Maybe as we, you know, wrap this up, speak into that. Somebody perhaps that may not get the privilege of formal education, but they can still get an education, and the avenues that are possible, even as you just give us your final piece of advice on this matter.
The good thing today is that skill is what sells and not paper, you know, and ideally, even as we are looking for people to work, you're looking at what they can do and not necessarily the papers will tell you, okay, like they have learned, but you might experience is also key, you know, and I think that's of the thing that most people make fun of, you know. They're asking, you know, for 24-year-olds with 10 years of experience. So I think skill is what really matters the most. And right now we have a lot of places to acquire skills. Yeah, like I said, the information we have at our disposal right now, on our phones, on our computers, you know, and with the interconnectivity, you know, the internet is all over right now. It's very easy to run skills. You see people working remotely for foreign companies, you know, especially in the computer science industry, and they will say, you know, it's self-taught, you know. Yeah, if you have a passion in design, you know, it's very easy to get that kind of masterclass online, you know, more often free on YouTube, you know. So like I said, if you have an interest in something, it's very easy to find resources to actually build that talent or build that gift, you know. Yeah, and also, and now this as a parting shot, it's a call for parents to actually do everything in their power to actually provide that exposure for their kids where they are able, you know. And that calls even for the parents making sacrifices, you know. Yeah, like I said, like where the passion of computer started, you know. Yeah, I wouldn't say, you know, we were that well off that, you know, but I feel it's a sacrifice that my parents did to actually purchase us this very basic, you know, computer that led to all this. Yeah, but I feel right now, if you have an interest in something, it's very easy to build that skill, whether it's a physical skill, you know, woodworking, find a lot of tutorials on YouTube. If it's a soft skill, you know, you'll find those tutorials and if right now we are living on a global stage, a lot of companies out there are looking for, you know, for lack of a better, more affordable labor, you know, in which unfortunately we are more affordable labor as compared to out there, you know. So you'll find like companies in Europe, in especially Europe, will come set up office space here, hire our people and manage them work from out there. Yeah, so I think it's, if you have an interest in something, just pursue the knowledge of it. And right now we have endless resources, especially in social medias, YouTube and everything. And if you ideally, like I said, the algorithm works for you. If every time you go to YouTube you say how to, you know, make this thing, they will bring now
the resources
to you right there.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Eric. If somebody were to get in touch with you, maybe for more or maybe for some of the things that you're engaged in as an enterprise, how will someone get in touch with you? Is there an email address? Maybe what's the name of your enterprise?
I'll say ES Gaming Store. If you Google ES Gaming Store, you'll see what we do, especially for corporates looking for high performance PCs who want to automate their businesses. You know, architects want powerful PCs for rendering their drawings. You know, media people who want powerful PCs, you know, for their media work, animations and everything. I think those are target customers, you know.
All
so
right.
Yes, Gaming Store. My name is Eric. I think you'll find me quite easily.
All right, Sasa, thank you so much. Thank you for your time. I think this has been enlightening, and I hope, because I got to do land economics actually by listening to a radio show, and somebody mentioned that is what they did in campus, and that is how I learned there's a course like land economics. So who knows that maybe there's somebody listening to this conversation and you have heard of something perhaps you've not thought about, but it may, you know, cause you to venture into it. It is my prayer and hope that this has been a blessing to you. But even as we talk about the power of exposure, that there are multiple ways in which you can be exposed. And so I hope the fact that you have a phone, a smartphone with internet, do not just be looking for Wi-Fi so that you can go on TikTok for entertainment purposes. You can actually use it for educational purposes, and you can expose yourself and become a better individual and a better citizen of the world. See you next Monday for another conversation, but I pray and hope that this will actually be of benefit to you. See you next Monday.